Welcome to Legacy Unscripted, sponsored by Progeny Coaching. This is the podcast where sports and business collide. I'm your host, Russ Katzman, and with every episode, we have an open conversation with someone who's built something meaningful. It's unscripted, unrehearsed, and unapologetically real. Today, I'm happy to welcome Dr. Stephen Sunderraj, owner and physical therapist at Recalibrate Physical Therapy. Now, Steve, we were all affected by COVID, but you, well, it required a different approach from you, something involving a minivan. Tell us about it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, COVID was pretty crazy. I'm in New York City, and it was kind of like Mad Max out here. Like everything was shut down, and I had my outpatient clinic inside of a MMA gym, and that's where I was practicing out of 3 years, from 2017 until 2020. And March 9th, my daughter was born. It was a planned C-section, and got discharged Thursday. Lockdown was next Monday. And then I got COVID, and then I was out for 2 weeks, and then everything was shut down. And I was trying to get back to the gym, and then the gym got shut down. And so the newborn at home, my wife, I was married at the time, and my wife wasn't working, and it was me just bringing in the income. Now I had enough money to survive the year, but that's not going to solve my problem. I have my own business, so I can't lose my book of business. And I had patients calling me because they had ACL surgery, patella tendon repair. And I was like, shit, man, I don't know what I need to do. And so my father has a drugstore, and he's got 2 cars. He's got a daily and like an AB car, like a weekend car. So his daily is a minivan. So I asked him, hey, man, I need to borrow the minivan. I need to continue working. So I ripped the seats on the back. I put about 500 pounds worth of weights in the back of the minivan, 2 adjustable dumbbells, a trap bar, and Olympic plates. And I treated people outside, and it was crazy. So I popped the van up. I parked in front of a pump. Cops that passed me by wouldn't give me a ticket. They had better things to worry about than me exercising people. And I had people in crutches and knee braces and slings coming in and out, working people out of this minivan. I would have documented more, but I was pretty embarrassed, honestly. And I wasn't sure how long it was going to go on for. Went on, obviously, the rest of the year, and now the second lockdown fall. But before it got cold, I signed a 10-year lease on a space. Eventually the landlords came to reality and came down on the rent. So I, bet it all on myself, and I signed a 10-year lease on a space on 36 and 5th. The landlord took an arm and a leg for, security deposit, but, she wanted to make sure I wasn't leaving. And it was pretty crazy time treating people outside, especially post-operative cases, meeting me in the park. So,
yeah. No, that's just nuts. It's a heck of a pivot. I mean, you were only a couple years in business at that point, weren't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was working for a company full time, and then I saw the writing on the wall. They had gone the private equity route, and I was like, I don't think this is going to be for me. And so the last 2 years of my 5-year stint at this business, I started to go practice on the side to see if I can make it. And so they were paying me about 85 grand, and year 2 in, I made 60 on the side. Now I was working before work, after work, weekends. And I was like, there's no way I could keep up with this, but I liked the side work. It was my work, right? So I was like, all right, listen, if I just need to clear 25 grand, I think I could figure it out. So I was training jiu-jitsu, and my teacher at the time was like, listen, you're all over the place. Why don't you work out of the school? You're a good guy. And I'm like, well, I'll help you out. So we shook hands. He gave me 6 months free rent. I quit. We had no contract signed. I just shook his hand, and I took my practice and book of business and started working out of this MMA academy. So I was there for 3 years, from 2017 till 2020.
Now, do you still communicate with the owner of that school and stuff occasionally?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a few years. We're not on bad terms. He's a nice guy, so it's not too bad.
I just think it's interesting because that's, we talk all the time, and you hear me talk about progeny and living your legacy and stuff. I think it's awesome the way, just individual interactions like that. He's building a legacy through you that he would never dreamed of, right? Because of what he helped you get started in that moment. How have you tried to kind of pass that forward and pay that forward with people that have come through your clinic since?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I kind of wanted to make a WeWork type space. So I do something very unique. I do physical therapy, but it's really weight training based. There's not many people in the profession that know how to progressively overload patients while they're injured. So for if it's like an ACL tear, I try to get them to at least trap bar deadlift their body weight. And so like I wanted to have like-minded people in the space. And some people needed help. People helped me and I helped them. And so I started a second business with a friend of mine, another trading partner from the other gym. And it's called New York City Performance Lab. It's a longevity performance business. And
Mm,
right now, we networked with a very, very well. He's high up in the practice space of wellness and longevity, and he's renting from me. And I gave him a good deal on the rent because I want him to win. It's him,
yeah.
his wife. He's got 2 kids. Like all the, I being the sole breadwinner in a situation like that, I would not wish that upon anybody. And so I gave him a good deal in rent. Because I gave him 2 months free, and then a slow ramp up period is very generous. What he's paying me, he could do it. I want him to do well. If he helps me, the performance lab is on the third floor. I'm on the fourth floor.
Yep.
So if he helps me on the third floor, it's a win-win for me. It's like one hand feeds the other, right? So what do I care? But I want him to do well. He's a nice guy. His name's Chris Capicato.
Mm, gotcha. No, that's terrific. I mean, it takes what you're doing there, and I mean, we're only a handful of years away from what you were doing out of a minivan, right? It may feel like a lifetime ago for you, but really it's, 5, 6 years. And that's incredible what you've been able to build in that amount of time. You mentioned that you were just determined to find a way to make it work out. Where does that motivation come from for you?
Man, I think I have like some kind of survivor's thing. I have no idea, honestly. Like if I'm put in a corner, somehow my brain starts to just, I don't know what it is, but I find a way out. I don't know. It's like a fight or flight response. I'm not really sure, but if there's a way out and I'm in the jam, I'll make a way, and I've done that like a bunch of times in my life, but the whole thing with COVID was pretty nuts. And then
Yeah.
obviously signing the space was also pretty crazy too. And then making another business with a friend of mine was also crazy. We just kind of just tried it out and it worked. So it was pretty nuts. I don't know. I just pulling on threads. I think doing the right thing, being a good person, and getting good people around you. Like people help me, I try to help them, and that's about it. I think it's just a internal will, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. No, and I think it's a tremendous asset in this entrepreneurial space, right? Because there is no turning back. There's no I'm going to go back and work with somebody else or for somebody else, right? You're an entrepreneur and you're building your business, and if this doesn't work out, you'll build a different business. It's just part of you.
Yeah, and probably I have a massive issue with authority. I don't
That
know.
that's part of it.
Yeah, so I don't really like being told what to do, and I worked for a good guy, and I respected him. So I think if I have to work for somebody, I have to really respect you'll get the most out of me. But it's few and far between.
So during our introduction, you mentioned to me, yeah, you're kind of a medical guy trying to figure out how to run a business. What are some of those key lessons that you kind of picked up along the way that have been critical to the progress that you've made?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is so in medicine, like in rehab, right? Things are just factual. And so I don't try to convince patients, I just bring them, I I just tell them what the reality is and let them
Okay.
figure it out, right? And so I'll go through different assessments. My assessment's a little bit different, but like I show them what the situation is based on what they can or cannot do, right? So it's just very factual. And I realized having vendors and interacting with different people, like I have to be more factual with with people in general. And
Yeah.
once I became more business minded, dealing with other people, I'm like, no, we're not doing that. This is what it is. Where's this? Where's the deliverable? I paid for this. And I started to do like backwards math a little bit, right? Like, okay, the cost of me interfacing with this person is I can be treating more people than talking to this guy about whatever. So I
Yeah.
will just either stop talking to this individual or I pay for peace. I'm like, you know what? I lost 1,000 grand. This guy kind of fucked me over. Fuck it. Me dealing with this is I'm losing time, billable hours. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I just cut my losses. Like, what's the point of it? Right? Like I'm making more money the next 3 hours, I don't need to be doing this. A good example, actually, COVID was actually starting to kind of get me to think about that. So half my volume during COVID, but I made the same amount of money, which is crazy. So I would see about 10 people a day, 8 people a day. But the cost for me was I'd see a person, then I'd drive over to another park. That's another hour.
Yeah.
Then I'd see a person drive on where I would see like 4 or 5 people an hour potentially. So I would crush. So I'm like, if I stay in one spot, that's why I joined the gym. That's why my teacher was like, hey, come join me because you're all over the place. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm losing money. So like, even if this home care patient was going to pay me 400 an hour, costing me going there is billable hours. I treat the patient. I lost 3 hours. Like, what am I doing? I might as well stay in one spot. So even though that's a number, it doesn't make any sense. So a lot of like backwards math, like what I'm billing, what's worth my time, what's not worth my time, was a big learning experience for me.
And how has that manifested in your profitability since you came to that realization?
Huge. Just seeing what's worth my time. Like, okay, like if I stay here, if I bill this, I'll make more money doing this. If I start negotiating with insurance, like, okay, I'll let the biller handle that. So I started having different people in place to not take my time. So like, I had my other teacher, the person that, gave my other teacher, guy Chad Vasquez, a black belt. So I switched gyms. And
Okay.
so Renee was under Chad. Chad started his own school. So I went with Chad, and this guy, Alex, he actually created the GIF. This guy, he's a Giphy guy. So he's kind of a small world. So to get access to this guy is rare. But in martial arts, you end up like interfacing with all these like people. You just have no idea. So he sat me down and he basically gave me like, all right, here's your billable hour is this. And you want to put a barrier to people. And by the time they get to you, it's like almost like a pyramid. You're charging the most up by the time they get to you. And then we had a good conversation. That really helped me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to let these people deal with them. And by the time they get to me, I'm going to make the most amount of money. And so I've been doing that. It's been really helpful. It was a really good conversation I had with him. That helped me a lot.
No, I love that. I think it's terrific advice. Um, what's the one thing that you've given up that has probably made the biggest impact in your billability or your billable hours?
What do you mean? I'm sorry, say that again.
So, what's one thing that you've delegated to somebody else that's made
Yeah.
the most significant impact in the amount of billable hours that you can put through, or your profitability, or something along those lines?
Yeah. So I have something called Train Heroic. It's an app, and a personal trainer use it. So I have a friend and another training partner. He rents from me, and he joined my clinic as another person to train his clients. So I had Drew. His name is Drew Cotton. I had Drew help me train people on the app. So I hate Zoom visits. Like I will almost pay the patient to not do it. It's like I hate it. So now Drew does the Zoom visits for me, and he runs the program for me. I have a personal trainer that's my aide. So I don't hire just any aide. I have personal trainers as my aides. And so I do a little deal with them where they help me assist my patients. And if they want to train people, they could train people out of my space for free. So I have the trainers helping me run my routines. And then as we get to more of a phone call, then it's like by the time they get to me, then I charge the most.
Sure. So talk to me about your team, your leadership team, and how they're working out. What was it like kind of building the people that work with you? Was that kind of natural for you to bring people into your space, or was there a control thing that you had to battle with?
No, I'm pretty reasonable, but I think for me, it's a character thing. Like people come in, I explain to people, this place is like Switzerland. I accept everybody. I have like everyone I treat is like welcome, but like just keep your bullshit at home. Like I have Republicans, Democrats, some guys wearing a Trump shirt. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off in Europe, but no one says shit in my office. So I'm like, I tell them, people come in here, don't start anything. Like, don't be political, just be cool. So that's like been the biggest thing. Um, be easygoing, and I'm joking around a lot. Like it's what it is, and more or less, I think it's been pretty good. But my problem is scaling me has been my issue. So I have good vendors around me. I have 1099 contract workers around me, and that's been helpful for me. So I've like had to go through a little bit of, I have to go through a better interview process to do that. And I've gotten better at it, but I have good vendors around me, but I don't have another therapist like me. So that is the struggle that I have. So I have like a bit of golden handcuffs a little bit, but it's been nice. The last 6 months I've been working on this app with Drew, and I've just been telling people like, no, I work with Drew on the Zoom. I can't be at two places at the same time. Talk to Drew. He knows my game. And like, so it's been good to kind of do that. But I put a lot of time into Drew to have him learn my stuff.
Yep.
So it's good and bad. I have good vendors, but I don't have anyone to scale me. So it's a bit of a issue I have.
Well, I think the beautiful part about having somebody like Drew in that spot is, if they don't want to pay your hourly or billable rate, then they're out of your universe. Well, with somebody like Drew, they can stay in your universe. They don't have to pay that billable rate. They can do Zoom if they want to go at a lower rate,
Correct.
right? They can still
Correct.
get the help they need. They just
Correct.
don't have to be at your level. So that's nice with that. You almost read my mind here a second ago. I want to know, interview question, whether it was an interview or someplace else. Give me an example of where you were searching for that person with the right character, and you may have stubbed your toe a little bit and made a poor decision about either a hire or somebody you were working with, maybe somebody that you let in that inner circle that you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, a big learning experience for me is I'm straightforward. Is what you see. Yeah. And so I need to be better at diagnosing behavior and not words. So, like when someone say they're going to do something, they're like, oh yeah, I'm just like you, blah, blah, blah. And they're coming to my space and now they're behaving differently. Now I'm getting like low key resentful. I'm like, wait a minute, you said you weren't going to do the thing, but I should manage my own expectations because obviously their words don't matter. I need to see how they act. And so it's a hard thing, right? Like you just don't know somebody. And so I've been very careful of who comes to my space. I've been very like, listen, like if you come in here, you do this, like, I'm going to kick you out. Like it's done. And I've had to kick a few people out. It's happened, no problem. But it's hard, right? Like I think you don't know until you know. And for me, I've been less disappointed and been more, less emotional about it. I'm like, okay, this person said they were this, they're not this. Okay, it's cool. We're done. We're not a good fit. So it's just like a conversation. I'm like, this isn't working because we're not matching.
How long did
Dying
it take for you to get to that point to where you weren't letting it get to you much when you made a poor decision?
2 years. Yeah. Well, I opened up the clinic. I signed a 10-year lease November 2020. I had my open house in May of 21. And I had my first tenant August of 21. And that guy was weird. It was like, he's like, yeah, cool, no problem. And he shows up, he put like perfume, like, I don't know, some weird scent. And then he took over the radio and was like, had a spa music on. I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, I have like a belt squat machine. I have plates and there's
Sure.
some heavy bag, and he's turning it into a spa. I'm like, hey man, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, like I'm trying to make it comfortable for my patients. I'm like, this is not the place. Like, what I have. Like, it's like, you can't turn this into like some like sauna, like spa.
Yeah.
Like I have like, I have like picture of like Wolverine's anatomy on my front wall. It's like a soft place. So I'm like, this is not going to work. Like we're done now. Right. So things like that. So it took me about 2 years to figure that out.
Okay. Good. Talk to me about the operations side of it a little bit. One of the things I hear a lot from individuals in this medical space is, um, you talked about billable hours. Making that operational piece as efficient as possible is very important to them. A nice flow of you're in, you're taken care of, and you're back out. How has that fit in your space? How have you kind of altered your approach a little bit to make it fit in the space, or have you altered the space to fit what you do?
Yeah. I picked a space for me. So I wanted, like at least 1,000, like my office is 2,000 square feet. So I treat people with programming. So in the beginning, I spent a lot of time with them in the beginning. And then as they get better, I start phasing out a little bit and I do more supervision. Because if I have to watch you do like a set of clamps for the next like 6, I'm going to blow my brains out. And I tell them like straight up front, manage expectation. Like, listen, like your diagnosis I've seen a gazillion times. In fact, you're very boring. So this is good. You don't want to be my new case I've never seen before. You don't want that. No, I don't want that. Okay, cool. So I teach them. I try to get the patient to be independent. But as they get better, build a skill, then I start backing away. And then when there's a new skill I have to teach, then I spend more time. So and everyone's running their own program. I know where everybody is. So I have like maybe 4 people an hour, 3 people an hour. So if you're a post-operative case, 6 months, there's a routine that we have to kind of go through with progressive overload. I'm manipulating the sets and reps for that. So once people understand the system, I have the name on a whiteboard. So that's how the program is run. The floor is run that way. It's like a well-oiled machine. Now
Nice.
the billing end is a shit show. Like my cash flow is fucked. Like I don't get paid for 6 months sometimes.
Ouch.
Yeah, it sucks. So like my biggest problem is visibility of the billing and cash flow. Insurance is going to pay me this, they're not going to pay me that. And I'm getting a phone call. Hey, we'll pay you your money, but we'll pay you half of it tomorrow. Do you want it tomorrow? I'm like, this is like the mom calling me. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, fuck off, pay me. You're gonna give me my money. So they pay like fine. So they pay me the full rate in 6 months. So let's say if I'm making like 50 grand a month, 50 grand a month would be great if I got on the first or whenever
Yeah.
it was done. But I'm getting it in the course of 6 months. So I'm like, I don't know where that is. Right. So now my solve for that was getting a business line of credit. So I get the line of credit. I got 100 grand. I just got approved for an extension yesterday, actually. And so I got 100 grand line of credit. So I'm like, whatever. Like I know my gross income is X. I'm making good money, but
Yep.
my checking account is like 60K the whole year. So I'm sitting with my account. I'm like, dude, like, where is this money? He's like, hey, you did great. I'm like, did I? Because I don't see it, And I was
Yeah.
like,
Because it's the same as it was in January.
yeah, the same. Yeah, just saying, like, what are we doing here? So I'll get the line of credit. I'll pull that out, and I'll just use that to pay for my overhead and whatever. And then as the money comes in, I'll just build line of credit back down. So that's my plan for this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I mean, the whole idea that I talk to companies about line of credit is the peaks and valleys, right? To your point, cash flow, you never know which is going to come in when, right? Some of those will, you'll say, no, pay me now, and they'll pay you in 2 weeks. Other ones are going to hold that for 6 months until they absolutely have to. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for you over the course of the year and how it
Yeah.
changes your numbers at the end of the year.
Yeah, I've been pretty ballsy lately. I've been giving patients to submit themselves, and they've been like they haven't really batted an eye. So I'm like, just it's your, take it. You deal with it. So I've been more ballsy about it this like last 6 months, and that's been helping my life. All of a sudden, like my numbers are going up, and I can make good decisions. Right, like I could maybe hire a therapist or not. So I'm being skittish, making bigger moves because I don't know what I'm dealing with. So it's like not in my account. So we'll see what happens.
All right. I like it. So you've talked a couple times about the types of patients you've got. Um, one of the things, and I blew up my Achilles in 2012, my shoulder in 2015, been down the road with rehab a couple different times. The one thing I learned along the way is that patient has to help themselves. They have to put the work in, not just go to surgery, go to PT and hope it's all gonna be better. How do you know when you've got a patient that's going to succeed under your guidance and those that aren't? And what do you do? Do you let those that aren't kind of, send them someplace else, or how do you know which ones are ideal for you?
Yeah, I mean, generally people don't know what they want. So I don't really tell them, I don't ask. I just tell them what's happening. And this is what's happening. And that's it. So like it's easy for me if they've never lifted almost, because then I could teach them clean. So the skill of lifting is a new thing for a lot of people. I think we chatted before, like I wrestled growing up and you wrestled, right? So like I had to lift out of a necessity because I was getting my ass beat. It was like either that I'm still going to I still got beat up. It was like much tolerable, right? So like I lifted out of a need, So I benched my way out of a problem. Essentially, I was like 14. So like I've met people who've never benched at all. It was like crazy. I'm like, dude, you could like get your lunch money taken at any moment. And these people are the ones blowing their, Achilles tendon and whatever, right? So I start from scratch and I don't really tell them what's happening. I spend time with them. Like, this is what we're doing. And I explain what plan of care is. Like, listen, we're going to build fundamentals. We're going to fix the range of motion. And then we're going to I'm going to get you strong. That's going to take like 8 weeks. So let's say if someone came in with a sprained ankle, right? Ankle stiff, get mobilized in the ankle. Takes me 4 weeks to clean that up. I said, you're uneven. So I need to make you even, right? So to make you even, we have to do asymmetrical exercises, unilateral exercises. So now that we're even, then I could have you squat when you have weights with both hands. That's a symmetrical load, but you're uneven. You have asymmetry in strength. So let me clean you up first. That's going to take about a month, maybe. And then weeks 4 to week 8, we're going to pack on the strength of the weights with the trap bar. And then once we get the body weight, that's my trigger for them to give that to you, for you to do on your own. So you're going to go away, you're going to join a gym, and you do this once a week for maintenance.
Mhm.
And in here, 2 times, we're going to focus on plyometrics. I'm going to teach you how to jump up, jump forward multiple times into running. And I build them that way. And so once they see like the end result of like, I'm going to get you to run, then they don't really complain. Like they understand the program.
What's the typical objection you get at that point? Is it the fear of the program, fear of lifting weights? Is it the cost of the overall? Are they concerned about what insurance is going to take in that? How do you deal
Yeah.
with the objections?
I mean, there is definitely a concern of payment and things, but like I let
Hmm.
them know cost of time is the issue here. So like sometimes if I'm in a jam, right? Like let's say if it's like a lumbar radiculopathy, so like you have back pain and the nerve is ripping down your leg. I tell them go get an epidural and go see. I work with a sports med guy. This guy's like a needle in a haystack. I found him. Actually, I networked with him with my business partner. His name's Yasha Magyar. He's an amazing sports med guy, and I refer all my patients to him. And he's actually a Matt Serra BJJ black belt. He
Wow.
looks, yeah, he looks like he's a unit. He's a big dude, but he's super nice guy, soft spoken, and he helps me get out of these jams, right? So I tell people, don't see me. Get this nerve pain out of your leg. Now, there are things I could do to get the nerve pain out of their leg through exercise, but that takes like 4 to 6 weeks. See him, and it might be done in 48 hours. So don't see me. Go see him, get it out of your leg, and then we can just start lifting. Like, why? Like, let's not chase this thing. I'm telling them not to see me. So
Yep.
like some people need them getting them to not see me to go get an injection. And then that is more of the sticking point sometimes when they're like, I don't
Yep.
want to get a needle. I'm like, it's time. Like, do you want to save time? Why do you want to pay me? It's fine. You can pay me if you want, but you'll be here instead of like, what are we at, like mid-March? Like you'll be here where you would be May 1, 6 weeks. So we could fast forward time and get the inflammation out of your body. They're like, oh, is it masking? I'm like, it's not masking anything. I have to explain to people. It's like an open wound, right? If you have a cut on your finger, you keep bending it. When's it going to heal? It's never going to heal. So you have to scar it down. The injection helps you scar it down. So the main objective is getting them to go get an injection, really. And that's about it. And some women are hesitant to lift heavy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't want to look like you. I'm like, oh, well, like what, Indian? Like, what are you saying? And obviously I'm doing, you know, you know, joking around, but I said, no, like, I just don't want to get big. I mean, you don't have the hormone for it. So
Yeah.
you'll be fine. And then they're fine. They're happy lifting heavy. So it's like, it's a little weird once we start crossing that threshold of lifting heavy, because then, as you know, from training, you have to have a will to lift it. So that's when people like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. I'm like, no, you can do it. So then, the way I manage the reps and the sets, regardless of gender, right? Like if they've never lifted heavy, once they get to like, oh, that was easy. I'm like, yeah, easy. 3 for 3 triples. And I have reps in reserve. Like I know they could go 10 in, but I don't do that. I don't pull it that far. 3 for 3, 185, we're good to go. How'd that feel? Yeah, I feel great. Easy. So like sometimes the negotiation within the program as the weeks go on.
Well, I think the interesting part about your approach to this and even your attitude about it all is just that confidence that you portray, and I think that's a big part of it. But I could tell you, obviously, firsthand, that when you blow a ligament, when you blow something out like that, and you're trying to rehab it, your biggest fear post surgery is putting weight on it, starting to
Yeah.
use it again, that kind of thing. And you're asking them, hey, you're not just going to lift, we're going to get you to the point where you're lifting heavy with this. And here's why,
Yes.
et cetera. But that's a lot of trust that they have to get in you. What do you think the key is to getting them to trust you that way?
I mean, I think seeing other people in the room doing it is helpful. Like they've seen people like on crutches, like barely walking here to running. Like, oh, hey, that girl was on crutches. Like, yeah, she's doing great. So like it helps with other people are in the room. And a lot of times people find me through word of mouth. So by the time they find me, they've already failed rehab or something. So that kind of helps too. And just as the days go on, I just jack up the resistance. I get their confidence building up a little bit. And so every reps, every sets as the days go on, they're feeling better. So they're trusting better. I tell them like, we're not going to go until like we're good. Like, so like I have to know that you're good and I'm good. I watch them with the form. If they're good, then we move the weights up and they start to feel better. Like you can just kind of see in their eyes a little bit. They're like, oh man, like this is kind of feeling good. I'm like, yeah. Like now we're going to go here now. It's like, okay, cool. Let's go here. And then we go there. And I'm like, do you want to run? Like I haven't ran since high school. I'm like, well, you want to run Tuesday? Like,
I was going to say,
sure.
great time to start.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, the visits help gain the confidence and gain the trust.
Okay. Give you a chance for your commercial because we've been talking a lot about this heavy lifting and that kind of stuff. And you just mentioned maybe they fail regular rehab. Give me the quick commercial as to why lifting heavy and the stuff that you do is so different than standard PT, the way people would look at it.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Because it's like you don't know what you don't know. And I got taught by like a really good mentor. Like he's like Obi-Wan. His name is Tim Stump. And so Tim Stump's mentor is guy Rob Panarillo. So these guys were really well-renowned physical therapists, and they had strong ties with hospital special surgery. And then they developed this system of treating. Alvin Meal is a strength and conditioning coach. So Rob worked with Al, and he had this thing called the athletic hierarchy. It's like
Okay.
motion, strength, work capacity, speed is like kind of building up to sprinting. So what Tim and Rob did, they took that and they merged physical therapy with that ideology. So I like to tell people it's like a relay race, right? Where like I'm holding the baton and the strength coach is holding the baton at the same time. So I'm going right up until it looks like personal training and I'm letting go because I'm
Gotcha.
stress testing it over and over again. So like sometimes if the person has back pain, like I want them to run because I need to know what it looks like on impact. So it's a bit of a different game I'm playing. I want to make sure that you are bulletproof and you're good. So you don't come back to me. And then you're also doing more work, right? So if I know you could handle running a mile, driving down to Long Island is not going to be a problem, right? So like the complexity you're doing is so high, you could do low level things. So I've increased capacity for stress.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, I, I've been down the road with standard physical therapy several times. I've never seen us work anything heavy, and I think it's an interesting contrast for the right patient. Like we just said it, right? There's certain patients that it works for, other ones that aren't willing to put in the work, or they're too scared of it, or they're just not the right fit for you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think everyone would work for me. It's just a matter of like, I think, yeah, I mean, everyone can do it. I'll be honest with you. Like if you're already in like traditional like PT, like they can do it. They just haven't been taught to do it. So other therapists are not able to do it because they haven't been taught, right? But it's also you're not doing the right thing either because you're not doing the progressive overload. So like people think they're getting better, but guess what? You'll get better if you just leave it alone. Like 6 to 8 weeks, that ankle sprain is going to be fine. You're just going to be scarred up and you might be able to run. Like you won't know how bad you are until I start doing different assessments. Yeah, like I think anyone coming in, like I end up doing this thing and they're totally fine with it if they end up finding me. Very rarely I'll get like a bad experience, maybe like one a year. One a year, one every other year, people might feel some kind of way about me and tell me to fuck off, which is like, but out. It's gonna make everyone happy.
You are in New York after all. I can't imagine how many times we've been told to fuck off. So
Oh, sure.
that
Yeah.
works. It's
Yeah.
part of the territory.
Oh, yeah.
Give me an idea. Let's go back, and only a couple questions left. Give me an idea of the young Steve. Talk to him before he gets into business. What do you want him to know coming along to this journey?
Yeah. It's a great question. I think, yeah, it was weird. Like, in the beginning, I was a physical therapist and then I was a physical therapist doing business and now I'm a businessman doing physical therapy. Right. So that's been like my evolution. And if I were to explain to my younger self, I would probably say to understand the billable hours truly and invest in that money. Like, like take that money, put it in an investment account, let it grow. Like that 60K I had, I could have put it in some account to have it keep making me money. I had no idea that's even an option. Like I could have took every check, dumped it in some investment account, kept some cash reserved for me and let that accumulate. And then I'd also probably try to maybe open up something, understand B2B.
There you go.
Unknowingly, me working with the gym owner was very successful because it was a B2B. I didn't know why it worked, but it helped him because everyone's getting jacked up in the school. He's sending me his students, so he gets to keep them as a student because they're not pausing the membership, and I get a patient. So it was
Right.
like a very symbiotic relationship, and that's one of the things that Alex had told me. Right, as the pyramid, it was like, how do we get to you? He's like, you want to do B2B, so get a contract with another company, and then you build the company X amount of dollars, and as they get to you, then you're charging whatever it is you're charging for your time.
Sure.
B2B, I wish I knew that sooner. Instead of chasing the patient, I'm chasing individuals. I should have just chased a gym, right?
Yeah. Chase, find that spot where a bunch of your ideal clients are aggregated, in your case, a
Yes,
gym,
yes,
and go find a partnership there or
yeah, and
create
that's
that
what I've
B2B
been doing.
partnership.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
what I've been
beautiful.
doing. So I basically infiltrated all the black belts in the city for jiu-jitsu and the Muay Thai community. So I'm probably the only doctor trading pad work and privates to get choked out for rehab. So I keep all the black belts healthy, and because they're doing this, and I treat all the gym owners that own the Muay Thai gyms. I treat them. I make them healthy, make sure they're good, their wives are good, girlfriends are good, and they give me their students because they don't have to pause membership on students, right? So that's kind of what I've been up to for the last like 5 years.
That's terrific. No, I love
Yeah.
it. So, Steve, we're just about at the end, or we are at the end. What have I not asked you that you want to make sure you get out there for the listeners?
I think just pull on threads, just go down rabbit holes and just start pulling on threads. You'll never know who you'll meet and what you'll end up finding. Like this thing with Andre, my business partner, we made New York City Performance Lab. We had dinner and he was on the tail end of his career. We're the same age, and he basically got bought out of a company that he grew and sold, Doctor.com. And so he was on his like last 6 months of his transition period. And he's just like, he kind of wanted to live forever. And I wanted to add more data to my rehab. So we're looking at the same equipment. And so he's like, listen, why don't we start this company? So we used my room. So it was my staff, my space, my expertise. We used his expertise in marketing. He made the website. He bought the stuff. And we shook hands. We had dinner in like September 22. And he started buying the stuff in 23 of Q1. And he launched the website in June of 23. And before the year ended, we were grossing like 30K a month. I mean, we didn't take any money. Him and I didn't take any. We just put it back in the business. And then he took it over. And now the third floor is buzzing, right? So it was like pretty crazy. It's like a whole longevity performance business that we met. And I had no idea. We were just like pulling on threads.
Yep.
And it was kind of a good time because Peter Attia wrote this book, Outlive. And all these like people like want to live forever. These like tech people, like, they want to have blood and everything. And so it was just like a weird thing. We're just kind of tugging and tugging and tugging. And then it sort of blew up. So I would have never guessed that. But again, I think to be a good person, to do the right thing, help people, and I think you'll never know who you meet. That's what I would recommend.
No, I like it. Well, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
So that's a wrap for this episode of Legacy Unscripted. If today's conversation sparks something in you, don't just let it sit. Take action today to build your future. Make sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this with someone who may need to hear it. And if you've got a story to share or you just want to connect, you know where to find me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it bold, and keep living your legacy.